Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Let's begin. Chapter 1: The Civil War. Everyone knew that the rebellion would never be able to defeat the old Satan. However, because of Naruto, he was their shield. No matter what the rebellion did, they were unable to defeat him. Either consumed by darkness, burnt by hellfire, or destroyed by their own attacks. The rebel army was so tense that they did not know how they could defeat such monster. He was too powerful for them, and everyone had almost lost all hope. But Sirzex had another plan. He knew of what was Naruto's weakness, his love grayfia. Sirzex also wanted grayfia, but not because of love, but because of lust. His plan was that they would attack in few days towards Western Front, where Naruto and grayfia were currently located, and he had a plan to handle grayfia, and the remaining three would attack Naruto to buy some time. If their plan worked, then victory was theirs. In the next few days, they attacked the Western Front. However, it was much harder than they had previously thought. As they had planned, Sirzex approached grayfia. The battle was intense, but Sirzex finally overpowered grayfia. She was devastated. She would never see her beloved Naruto again. All she had wanted was to live rest of her life with him, but that could never happen now. She closed her eyes to accept the death, but it never came. When she opened her eyes, she saw Sirzex extending his hand. Grayfia was confused. Why was a potential enemy helping her? When Sirzex saw this, he explained about peace. If they win, everyone would be happy. No one would have to die, future generation would not be in constant terror, and she can live with her beloved people. Grayfia's first thought was about Naruto. How they could live together, but that also meant that she would have to betray Lucifer, their leader. However, to her, no one was more important than Naruto. She accepted Sirzex's offer, but Sirzex told her that she had to convince Naruto to join their side. She knew it would be extremely hard, because Naruto was very loyal to Lucifer. After all, the first Lucifer saved his life. Therefore he thought that his duty to protect the Lucifer family. Grayfia nodded her head, and both she and Sirzex started to run towards Naruto's direction. When both of them reached the destination, what they saw completely horrified them. There were bodies everywhere. Both sides of devils had suffered fatal blows, but grayfia was searching for Naruto. Line break with Naruto. Naruto was battling three people with a bit of difficulty. It was true, he was the strongest devil, but the three were quite good and their teamwork excellent. He had never enjoyed a battle quite like this one, only using 50% of his total strength. He was sweating from a few scratches, but they were healed as time went on, the darkness burning the wounds away. In his left hand, he held a Jien, the legendary Kusanagi no Tsurugi, 1. At the same time, the other three devils, Ajuka, Seraphal and Falbium, were totally messed up. Naruto was too strong for them, but everything changed when they heard someone calling for Naruto. When they saw grayfia calling him and Sirzex behind her, they knew that their half of the plan had succeeded. Now it was up to grayfia to convince Naruto. Naruto looked towards a voice and saw grayfia running towards him with Sirzex behind her. Without a second thought, he was between grayfia and Sirzex, punching him in the face intensely. He blew back thousands of feet, snapping trees in half as he smashed through them. Naruto was going to attack Sirzex, but grayfia held him back. She told Naruto to stop this senseless fight. She did not want him to fight the meaningless battles. She wanted to live with him happily, with him and their potential children. At that moment Naruto was extremely angry. No, he was furious. It was unthinkable that his love wanted him to betray his master and his family. The same family he swore to protect, but at the same time, he also wanted to be happy with grayfia. He was too confused what to do. The three devils approached him and revealed that if he helped them, he will not only have a better future with grayfia, but he will also save his master's family and prevent any future deaths. Naruto looked towards three devils and finally looked towards grayfia. He smiled at her and sheathed the Kusanagi onto his right hip. He turned towards grayfia and hugged her. Naruto told her that he would no longer fight this meaningless war. He would confront the old Satan faction himself. When they heard this proclamation, all four of them could not believe it. They had thought that since he was extremely loyal to Lucifer, he would confront them. Grayfia was worried. If the old Satan faction tried to attack him, he would not defend himself. Grayfia tried to protest, but Naruto had made decision and he was not going to back down from it. So Grayfia thought the next best thing was to go with him. Naruto tried to protest, but Grayfia did not even let him speak. All she did was kiss him on the lips, silencing him. She told him that she would join him no matter what. While Naruto and Grayfia were arguing, all three devils were looking at them with mirth. It was quite sight to see what could be the most powerful devil, being completely dominated by a woman in an argument. That aside, they still had their doubts that Naruto could pull it off. When Naruto noticed this, he told them that he did not care if they believed in them or not. He was going to do it for Grayfia. He told them that if he did not want to help them to stop the war, then they would have been long since dead. At that comment, they tensed. It was true. If he wanted, he would have killed them without a sweat. Seraphal was the first to speak. She told Naruto that they were sorry, but seeing as they were just fighting, it was hard to trust Naruto. Hearing this, Naruto said nothing but walked towards her. She tensed up as both of her friends moved to protect her. Naruto ignored both of them and moved to face Seraphal. As his hand touched the top of her head, she flinched. Naruto chuckled as he ruffled her long black hair. He told her that it was naturally hard to trust someone in such conditions. After a few seconds, he turned toward Grayfia and teleported both Grayfia and himself away from battlefield, leaving the three devils alone. It was then that Falbium noticed that something or someone was missing. He recalled the previous minutes and they all remembered about Naruto punching Sirzex and how he was sent flying towards forest. Suddenly they felt a massive blast of killer intent emanating from Sirzex, who now was out of the forest. Most of his clothes were stained with blood, his jaw was almost dislocated and he was seething in anger. When he saw his friends were standing around, he asked them where was Naruto and Grayfia. They told him that both of them were going to confront the old Satan faction, but Sirzex told them they should also go in case they needed to help them. However, this was just a farce. In reality he wanted to have all the fame so he could have Grayfia drooling over him. Line break old Satan faction palace. Both Naruto and Grayfia appeared outside of the palace in a yellow flash. The palace guards greeted them but they were ignored by the two devils. The two devils walked towards the war room that contained all of the current Satan faction. Some of the guards were surprised to see him because they thought he destroyed the members of the rebellion. As Naruto entered into the room, he was greeted with smiles. They congratulated him for his obliteration of the rebellion, but he stopped them cold by saying he did not win the fight. He told them that he did not want to fight the meaningless war anymore. He wanted to live a quiet life with Grayfia in peace. When the Satans heard about peace, they started to laugh. How can the most brutal man in the underworld live in peace? A man who loves fighting more than anything else live in peace? His reply shocked them. He was not the same Naruto that they knew. When they first meet him, he was empty inside. Now that he had met Grayfia, that emptiness inside him has been filled. Grayfia blushed at that comment and grabbed Naruto's left hand. She knew that the Satans were angry, so they might attack him. She swore she would be the one who would protect him. Just as she thought that, Leviathan and all of the guards jumped to attack them. Naruto, seeing this, did not even move. Grayfia moved in front of him to protect him, in order to take the blow for him. When Leviathan was mere feet away from Grayfia, she yelled at her saying that she was the reason that Naruto was betraying them. She would kill Grayfia and have Naruto herself. Leviathan thrust her hand to kill Grayfia, but Leviathan felt a bone-shattering kick to her left cheek and was sent towards the right stone brick wall, unconscious upon impact. Every guard that tried to attack was dead, limbs slowly falling around them. All of the remaining Satan and their lackeys in the room were shocked what just happened. 1 second she was going to kill Grayfia, and then in the next second she was embedded in the wall unconscious with every guard in bloody chunks. When they saw who kicked her, their bodies froze in fear. They saw Naruto with half of his body covered in darkness. His eyes were black, a spiral mark appeared on the left side of his forehead. The look he was giving was so cold that no one dared to move from the spot. When he spoke, his voice was deep. He told them that they could kill him if they wanted, but if anyone dared to touch her, he would erase them from existence. Stunned, all they could do was just nod their heads and sit there. Soon they heard an explosion and they saw guards come from the doors for help as they said there was enemy attack. No one dared to move from his or her spot, but Naruto spoke to Lucifer, warning them to leave. This was the last time he will give him and his companions a chance to live. If anyone dared to come back for revenge, he would slaughter them. Upon hearing that, everyone teleported away, leaving soldiers behind. As the old Satan faction left, the door behind Naruto and Grayfia opened and they saw the four devils coming to fight. When they entered, they saw the mutilated bodies of many devils and Naruto and Grayfia hugging, with almost half of Naruto's body covered in darkness. Darkness drained from Naruto's body when Grayfia kissed him in front of the four devils. When Searsex saw this, he seethed in anger, but managed to control himself, which was noticed by Ajuka and Naruto. Naruto and Grayfia separated themselves from each other, but Naruto kept his hand around her in protective manner, causing her to blush. When they came out of palace, everyone froze when they saw Naruto. However, when Ajuka came to the front and told them that they had won the war and Naruto was on their side, they starting to cheer Naruto's name. However, Naruto motioned his hand to stop them and told them that he did not do anything special. He had just helped these four devils and they were the real heroes. So the crowd also stating to cheer the four devils, they were strong and ultimate class devils for nothing. After few years into their relationship, Naruto and Grayfia got married. Everyone in the underworld was happy for them, that is, except Searsex, who was still obsessed with Grayfia. Again, Naruto noticed this, but not only him but others as well. Amongst those that were Lord and Lady Gremory, his rival Ajuka and Grayfia herself. It really bugged her how Searsex was constantly leering at her. She warned him, but it was not getting any better. After a while, Naruto took Searsex aside and told him to leave Grayfia and his family alone. Naruto did this in hopes that Searsex would leave peacefully, but it was only until a few weeks and one bodily harm threat later did Searsex finally relent and started to ignore them. After a few days, Naruto was offered the place of Lucifer, but he rejected it, saying he did not want to become Lucifer because of all the paperwork that came with it. Everyone's sweat dropped at that comment, but no one pushed the matter further. Instead, Searsex took the position of Lucifer, with Ajuka becoming Beelzebub, Seraphal becoming Leviathan and Falbium becoming Asmodeus. Then Ajuka created the evil pieces and distributed them to everyone. At first Naruto disagreed, but after some time Grayfia and Seraphal convinced him. For his queen, Naruto naturally chose Grayfia. His knight was his old companion Sparta, he took both. His old teacher Eryx became his rook, he took both pieces as well. Then there was also his bishop, one of the deadliest females outside of Grayfia, Brandish. Finally, Marred Gear became his pawn, utilizing all the pawn pieces. Naruto's peerage was small compared to the others, but it was one of the strongest and all of them were extremely loyal to him. Days passed by with everything at peace. One day, Grayfia was so happy that she just flew to where Naruto was doing his work. She hugged him and that he was going to be a father. Silence reigned for few seconds. Naruto was shocked. Then he exploded into a happiness so strong that entire underworld would have been heard him yell. He took her directly his home and told her from now on she would not work because she needed rest. Naruto then told his peerage subordinates that they would have to handle almost everything from now on, because he will be with his wife 24/7. Unless it was extremely important, no one should disturb him or Grayfia. Naruto bought everything for her, anything she would ask for except for letting her work. When the news reached to the underworld, everyone started to congratulate the couple. Everything was perfect and after 9 months, Grayfia gave a birth to a silver-haired, blue-eyed baby girl. She was adorable but Naruto was afraid that he might accidentally hurt her. Grayfia told him that he would never hurt them, even without intention. So he held his daughter in his hand, her small body in his big and powerful arm. When his daughter saw Naruto, she started to giggle and coo. It made Naruto extremely happy. Then he sat down beside his wife and held her in one hand and his daughter in the other. He was the happiest man in the world at that moment. In just a few days, his home was filled with joy. A few months after his wife's delivery, many other families gave birth. Everything was going peacefully, but then the old Satan factions began to attack the nearby borders. Naruto and Searsex decided to go deal with them. Before Naruto left, he went towards his wife and daughter, who were playing with his peerage. He knelt down and kissed his daughter on her forehead, and then he walked towards his wife, kissing her on the lips and told her that he would be back soon. Then he ordered his peerage that until he came back, it was their duty to protect his family. He looked back towards them, even as he flew away, silently telling himself that he would see Tem again. The battle was totally one-sided as Naruto annihilated everyone who was in front of him. However, he spared the old faction, saying he could not kill them because of his word to the first Lucifer who saved his life. The old faction told him the truth of why Lucifer saved him, but his reply shocked them. He told them he already knew everything, but it was because he saved his life that he was doing this favor. As he was speaking, a red beam pierced through him, entering his body from the back and exiting through his chest, nicking his heart. He was shocked that someone could have hurt him, but when he looked behind him, he saw Searsex grinning and then laughing. Searsex told him about his plan with the old Satan factions to take Naruto out. Then he would have Grayfia as his slave and his daughter will be raised on the street. Naruto felt numb. The attack had cut through on the superior vena cava and he used some holy water in the attack, making Naruto unable to move his body properly. When Naruto heard what Searsex was going to do to his family, he snapped, and with a monstrous burst of power, the very underworld shook. Naruto tried to use his dark cannon attack to kill Searsex, but the attack ripped through the entirety of the left side of Searsex's body, atomizing his left hand and leg. Searsex was bleeding badly. Naruto slumped down on a hillside, and when Searsex and the old faction saw this, they took this opening to attack. Everyone hit Naruto with their most powerful attack. Naruto was badly hurt. He was not able to move as the ground below him was shattered and he started to fall. As they watched, they heard his last word very clearly: "I will come back, but this time I will show no mercy towards anyone." Then his body hit the lava in the volcano below and burst into flames. Suddenly the lava bubbled and Naruto's body fell through. Suddenly, Searsex attacked the entirety of the old Satan faction, and before they could react, they saw Ajuka and Serafal come there with magic circles. So they did the next best thing: they fled. When Searsex told his story, he said that they attacked Naruto from behind and killed him with the power of holy water, pierced his heart and threw him into the volcano. Searsex elaborated the story by saying that he tried to save Naruto, but lost his left hand and leg in doing so. Both Ajuka and Serafal were distressed. How were they going to explain this to Grayfia? When they told everyone what Searsex told them, they were devastated to hear that their strongest devil was killed. However, none were more distraught than Grayfia and Naruto's peerage. Grayfia was devastated. She could not believe that it was true, but Naruto never returned. She was so overwhelmed that she locked herself in Naruto's room. Naruto's peerage tried to console her, but it was not working until they reminded her about her daughter. Grayfia rushed out of the room towards her and held her in her hands, her tears landing softly on her daughter's head. Grayfia was her only hope of living, so she would live for her. 100 years passed and all but the older generation forgot about Naruto Uzumaki. Searsex woke up with jolt, with sweat covering his entire body. He was again having nightmare again. It's been 100 years since he was having the same nightmare. Naruto, the Mare taught of him, made him angry because even after his death Searsex can't sleep peacefully. His mind always told him that he is dead, but deep in his heart he knew that one day he will come back to avenge him. Searsex got up from his bed and looked towards left side of bed. He saw silver-haired women sleeping peacefully naked. The woman was in her early 20s with waist-length hair, farm breast. He saw her with hunger in his eyes. When he walked towards her and slightly removed her hair from face, he heard the moan from her. Then the woman turned her head towards Searsex. He frowned. He was disappointed. Why he have to marry this woman, someone other than Grayfia? Searsex then remembers how he and this woman become his wife. Her name was Isane Katetsu. Flashback. Searsex was desperate. It was almost 20 years, but Grayfia didn't fall for his charms. He always tried to attract her, but he flatly ignored him or Naruto's peerage stop him doing anything funny. One day everyone was having a party of Searsex's birthday. Many high-class devils were there. Soon party started. Searsex then approached Grayfia. "Hello, Grayfia." She also greeted with him, "Hello, Lord Lucifer." Then he spoke, "Grayfia, I told you PLS call me Searsex." But she replied, "Sorry, Lord Lucifer, but it will be improper for me to talk to you casually." Searsex sighed at that. He knew that Grayfia didn't like him, but that's what made him more angry. Why can't she see that Naruto is dead? She should be with me now. "Grayfia, would you like to dance with me?" But grayfia declined with saying, "Sorry Lord Lucifer, but I am not feeling well, so hope you understand." Sirzex said nothing as he nodded his head, but inside he was fuming with anger, so he left from there. Then he called the waiter, "Give any alcohol to the grayfia's group, let them drink until they pass out and slip the alcohol with grayfia's drink at the last." Waiter nodded his head and got to work as Sirzex knows grayfia's low alcohol tolerance, so it will be easy prey. After some time almost all people were gone to their home, as there was only few peoples like Serafal, Ajuka, Mr. and Mrs. Gremory, Mr. and Mrs. Fenix and grayfia's group. Grayfia's group almost passed out while Serafal was also passed out. Gremory and Fenix were sober, but then they also leave for some private discussion. Now Sirzex saw this chance and told the waiter to slip alcohol with grayfia's drink. As he was done, grayfia drink it, but as just she sip it she became total drunk. Then she started to throw everything. "Why the hell this table is here? Why everyone is quite enjoy the party with music." As music starts, Sirzex come near grayfia and hold her waist. As he done this, grayfia turn her head and speak, "Naruto?" Sirzex becomes angry as he heard his name, but he nodded his head and started to leave with her in his private chamber. As they were walking, grayfia was babbling, "Hey Naruto, where have you been all this time? I really miss you. I was so sad, but now I am happy, and now I will not let you leave me again, and you will be pleasuring me all night. You will have to make it up to me for 20 years. Sirzek's face become red at that, but control himself as they entered his room. Sirzex grabbed grayfia and planted kiss on her lip. She also responded, but as they separated themselves, grayfia spoke, "You smell different Naruto. Your kiss is also not as passionate as used to be. Don't you like me?" Sirzex spoke nothing as he grabs her breast above her dress. He tore them apart and started to press it hard and pinch them as grayfia cried in pain, "Naruto, please stop, you're hurting me." But Sirzex threw her at his bed and remove his clothes. As he approached her, he was forcing himself on her. He removed her panty and saw a sacred place which he was going to dirty himself. Grayfia thought for a moment, as she know Naruto was rough with her sometimes, but he was never forceful. This was so frustrating for her, but then it hit her, how can be Naruto is here if he is dead? Then she concentrated for his power source, but then she feels Sirzek's energy. As Sirzex was almost inch away from her womanhood, she threw him away saying, "Get away from me." As she was fully awake now, she covered herself with bedsheet and Sirzex got up and yelled, "What are you doing, Grayfia?" She also yelled, "I am trying to protect myself as you were going to rape me in my vulnerable state." Then suddenly door opened and Ajuka came in. As she saw him she spoke, "Ajuka, thank goodness you came here. This man was trying to rape in my venerable condition and I want to speak with Lord and Lady Gremory right now." Ajuka was shocked. First he noticed Grayfia was drunk, then both Sirzex and Grayfia was gone. As he was searching for them, then he heard loud scream coming from his friend's room. He saw Sirzex necked on one side of bed and Grayfia was covering herself with bedsheet, saying Sirzex was trying to rape her. Ajuka looks at his friend for confirmation. Sirzex spoke, "She let me do it, I didn't force myself." Then Grayfia spoke, "You just gone this far because I was drunk and I thought you were Naruto. If I ever knew that it was you, I would have never let you even touch me." Ajuka knew about his obsession towards Grayfia, but to go this far it was limit. Ajuka then spoke, "Grayfia, just calm down a second, I will inform Lord Gremory." As Grayfia calmed down a bit, he turned towards Sirzex, who was furious. "Sirzex, I know about your obsession about her, but it have gone too far now. She is married to Naruto and she have one daughter. She still love him. You should let go of the past and start a new life." Sirzex looked at him like he was crazy, but Ajuka continued, "You may be my best friend and rival, but Naruto is the man I respect the most, so you better understand and move on." Sirzex then yelled, "But Naruto is dead. Why can't anyone accept that I am giving her chance to live a new life where she can be my queen, but she still have to stick towards her dead husband?" As soon as he said that, Grayfia attacked him with ice daggers and spoke, "Sirzex, remember this, my husband, he told me he will come back and I know him better than anyone. He will never break a promise made to me. He will come back from death itself to fulfill his promise to me, so you better remember it." Sirzex was angry, so he even tried to attack her with power of destruction, but he was stopped by Ajuka, who deflected his attack with his own. Then Ajuka restrained him. "Grayfia, go get Lord and Lady Gremory. I will hold him off for some time now, do." As he told her, she changed her clothes with magic and run for the search for the Gremory family. She didn't have to search them for a long time. As he approached them, they looked at her with happy faces, but when they saw her face they become tense. Grayfia then told them everything as they ran towards Sirzek's room. As they entered, they saw Sirzek was blinded by thorns by marred gear and sword at his neck by Sparta, with Ajuka assisting them. As they entered Lord Gremory's spec What the hell happened here? And Ajuka, tell me everything. As he demanded that Ajuka spoke, as grayfia leave to find you, Sirzex attacked me as I was hoping to cause less destruction, but he was furious, saying if I was his friend he would have helped him to have grayfia, but as he was attacking me these both helped me to stop him, and sorry to say Lord Gremory, but he is really mentally unstable right now, he just need one thing grayfia and it's very abnormal. Lord Gremory was totally shocked. First thing he knew about his obsession with grayfia, but trying to rape her and attack his friend, it's gone too far. He looked at his wife but spoke, I think he need to know that he can't have anything he want. He needs to know to let go of things. Then he ordered Sparta and Mard Gear to let him go, but they look at grayfia for order as she also nodded her head to let him go. They obeyed her and let him go and jump in front of grayfia in protective manner in case he decided to attack. As Lord Gremory walked towards Sirzex with extremely high amount of demonic power, he looked at Sirzex within his eyes and spoke, Sirzex, why are you doing this? You know she is married and have a child, so why are you still obsessed with her? She didn't want to think about another man, so why are you forcing her? She is not yours. Accept that. How can I accept that the women I want love someone else? Why she love him anyway? I am rich, handsome, smart and big tool. What does he have that I don't? Last part he said with smirk, but grayfia replied, he has a big heart. He respects those who do the hard work, not pervert like yourself. He is the most determined person I know, and your tool is nothing compared to him. Last part she said with blushing, which made Lady Gremory blush and all males look down in embarrassment. Sirzex then exploded in anger. Why do you even love him? I want you, so why do you still love him? Then grayfia spoke, that's the difference, you can't. See, you want me because of my body, but we need each other. If he haven't come to my life I would have been dead long ago, and if I wasn't in his life none of you would have been alive this to happen. He also doesn't like violence that much, but he do loves a good fight that put him to use his most power. He can hardly hold back, and there was no one in his early life like you. Live in this castle with joy, he have to fight to live, so that's why he use force to do things, but deep and down he is the most gentle man I would ever meet, and you can't even hope to become like him. Everyone in the room was silent. They never knew about Naruto's past, but now as grayfia told was Naruto's past really that bad he never told anyone about. But Sirzex spoke, but he is dead, so why do you still hung up for him? Become my queen and everything will be fine. Sparta and Mard Gear was ready to attack but stopped by grayfia. Then Lord Gremory spec, Sirzex, behave yourself. Right before coming here I arranged the marriage contract between Riser Fenix and Rias. It will be held in 80 years from now on. You have to behave or else the marriage contract will be destroyed and it will be on your head. Sirzex become quiet, but then grayfia continued, look Sirzex, I love Naruto, and Naruto only. My heart, my soul, and even this body only belongs to Naruto. It doesn't matter what you do, I will never be yours by any means, and I know he will come back and he never breaks his promise. Sirzex looked at her, then he smiled cockily and spoke, as you say he will come back, right? Getting nod from grayfia as he continued, let's just say we put a bet. Everyone was confused what he was talking about, but grayfia asked, what kind of bet? I may ask. Sirzex smirked and spoke, if in 80 years Naruto does come back I will never bother you, but if he never come back in 80 years right before Rias' marriage, then you will accept me as your king and you will be my servant for eternity. Everyone was shocked at that bet. Sirzex was talking senseless. She will never accept that bet, but her reply shocked them even more. I accept the bet, but in meantime you will never bother me and my family. Is that clear? And if you bother us the bet will void. Do you accept? With cocky smirk he accepted the bet, and everyone was told to be secret about the bet. Then everyone was gone home with total shocked look, and everyone was thinking what the hell just happened. Time skip. 20 years later, Sirzex was frustrated. It's been 20 years when he bet with grayfia, and because of that he wasn't able to even talk with her, and it pissed him off. Why did he have to accept that damn stupid condition? But he accepted, and now he wanted to fuck her right now. So Sirzex used to drink often when he got frustrated, but today was different. He was hungry for sex, so he started to throw the things everywhere. At the same time on his guard duty was his knight Isane Kotetsu. She was tall, charming woman with white hair tied in ponytail, with slender figure with medium-sized breast. She was wearing knight armor. She was one of the finest, not the strongest female swordswoman. She was 4th strongest knight in ranking, but when she heard the sound of throwing things inside of Sirzek's room, she went in his room immediately. As Isane entered in his room, she saw the room was totally mess and Sirzex throwing everything everywhere. Then she spoke, Lord Sirzex, please control yourself. Searsex turns towards the voice that was calling him and saw Isane, but then his vision changed and he saw Grayfia. Without any warning he attacked her body, pinning her to the wall as Isane protested, "Please Lord Searsex, let me go." He griped her more and kissed her, then crushed her armor and removed it. Then he started to squeeze her boobs above her clothes. As Isane was protesting, Searsex was doing it more hardly and forcibly. Then he tore her clothes and started to suck and bite her boobs harder. She cried in pain, but she wasn't able to free herself from him, and as no one come to help her, she gave in to him, as she also have small crush for him. So she spoke, "Please be gentle Lord Searsex." He removed his clothes showing his manhood, then grabbed her head and shoved it inside her mouth for mouth fucking. Searsex was mouth fucking so hard her throat hurt and almost choked her, but she was able to handle herself by pushing Searsex bit backward, but she wasn't able to do anything more than that. In few minutes he came in her mouth and she had to swallow it. Then he told her to suck it. She did with hesitation. Then he moved towards her womanhood and tore her panties. Searsex stared at her lassie and thought, "Now I will fuck you Grayfia and your body will be mine forever," and put the tip of his manhood above her womanhood to rub it, and without saying anything he put his manhood inside her womanhood. She screamed in pain as he break her hymen. Blood started to come out of her womanhood, but without mercy he started to ram her as he was raping her. Isane's body went limp. In few minutes he come in her. Feeling exhausted he separate himself from her. Searsex was exhausted, sweating heavily. When he looked at his right side he was shocked to see Isane on his bed nude. Her clothes tore apart, bite marks on her body, semen covered her pubic area. "How the hell she is here? I was with Grayfia." Then it hit him, he raped her. He panicked, if his father saw this it will be hell to pay. So he grabbed her in bed sheets and walked towards the door. The door was opened by his father and Ajuka. Few minutes ago, Lord Gremory and Ajuka were having chat about underworld working, as they thought it would be improper for them not to talk with Searsex. Even though he is not that suitable for the position of Lucifer, there was no one who was accepting the position, so they have to meet him. As they were walking, suddenly Lord Gremory, "Ajuka, do you really think that Naruto is alive?" This question surprised Ajuka, so he cross-questioned him, "Sorry Lord Gremory, but may I ask the cause of question?" So he replied, "It's just that my son is really desperate for Grayfia, and until he get what he wanted he will not calm down. He will use any means to get her." Ajuka looked at him, surprised that Lord Gremory was still thinking about that. He thought that Searsex would have been able to control himself in 20 years, so he spoke, "I know Lord Gremory you are worried about your son's well-being, but I think he would have gotten over her, as they haven't talked to each other in 20 years and Searsex haven't done anything to her and her family. And that's why I am worried about." Ajuka didn't understand what he was talking about, so he let go of the subject. Current time. As they both walk quietly they reached their destination, but when they opened the door what they saw shocked them to core. Searsex was holding his uncurious knight, and by looks of the room they feared what he might have done, so he spec, "Searsex, what is the meaning of this, and why are you holding your unconscious knight? Don't tell me you did what I think." When he got no reply from him he yelled, "What the hell did you do? Do you even know that you raped your knight? And here I thought that you might have changed, but you will never change. You are like this from the start. If I had disciplined you from the start none of this would have happened, and let go of her right now." Searsex was shocked. His father was always angry at him, but never like this. He knew that they were polar opposite, but this was too much. He did what his father said as he threw her on his bed. Then he looked at his friend for support, but his reply was also shocking for him. "Searsex, I have known you since childhood. You always got away because of your charms. Many girls have fallen for you, but why can't you accept the simple fact that she loves someone else, not you?" Then Searsex also replied, "Because I am better. I have money, fame, looks, position of Lucifer, and the power of destruction." Then Ajuka looked towards his friend like he was an idiot or what, but spoke, "Naruto also have money, more fame than you, better looks than you, and the position you talked about you have it because he didn't accept it, and even Grayfia also refused the position. The third option was you, and the power of destruction you talked about. You also know that you were defeated by him in spar every single time with your full power, and he would just use his 10% of power to wipe the floor out of you." Before Searsex could speak, Lord Gremory spoke, "Searsex, what you have done is unforgivable, and you will have to face the consequence. You raped your knight and you have to take responsibility." Then Searsex asked, "And what kind of responsibility you are talking about?" Lord Gremory looked at his son with anger and spoke, "You will have to marry her, you like it or not." Searsex looks at his father in disbelief and almost yelled, "Hell no, I will not marry her." Then Lord Gremory spoke, "You will, young man, and if you don't you will not only lose your position as Lucifer, but you will be placed as servant of Gremory clan, and you will be married to Isane. It's up to you. How do you want it, peacefully or hard way?" Sears looked at his father and he knew he was damn serious, so he would have to do things by his way for now, but he thought, just wait grayfia, I will have you, and when I have you I will kill this stupid bitch, as Sears nodded his head. Flashback end. Sears walked towards the bathroom for morning rituals. After he was done, he wore his Lucifer clothes, thinking about his sister's marriage, and started to walk towards his door. As he opened the door, he was greeted with his father. Over the years his father have changed much more than he thought. They still talked civilized in public, but when they were in private he would look at him like disgrace of family. His mother still supported him that he will have grayfia as his queen and she will know the true strength of power of destruction. Then there was his little sister Rias Gremory, the princess of destruction. He do love his sister dearly, in the fact when he meet the riser he do not like him as his sister's future husband, but his obsession over grayfia was so much great he did nothing to void the contract. As he saw his father was walking with his servants. Then he greeted, "Hello father and good morning." Sears waited for his father to reply, but he spoke nothing. Sears was humiliated, but he was wise not to cause commotion, so he started to walk, but his father spoke. Sears when he heard his father was calling him, he turned his face, but his father was still looking at opposite direction, but he spoke, "Meet me at my study room in half hour. I have something to discuss with you about the marriage between Rias and Riser." With that said, he started to walk towards his study room. Sears bowed to his father and left. As Lord Gremory was walking, he thought about his family. His wife beautiful and elegant, she has firm belief that power of destruction is greatest power in his. Both son and daughter was also thinking that they were strongest. Rias, who was strong in her own rights, she was not the strongest devil of her age, she was the third strongest of her age, while her cousin was second strongest, but the strongest devil for her age was Elsa Uzumaki, the strongest rookie devil and also known as Ice Princess, the daughter of strongest couple Naruto and grayfia. I really failed as a father and a husband, thought Lord Gremory. Uzumaki household was not big as other high-class devils, but the place was always crowded with friends of Uzumaki family. Everyone was doing their work, but certain silver head was in deep thought. Now only one day is remain. Where are you Naruto? I need you right now. Please come back for me, come back for our family. As tears started to pour from her eyes. As grayfia was crying, Naruto's peerage noticed this, but spoke nothing. They know how much she missed him. Well, everyone was missing him, but none were more than grayfia, so they looked at her with sorrow. Also, tomorrow was wedding of Rias and Riser and last day of the bet made 80 years ago. Naruto's peerage protested about this, but she said that she believe in Naruto and she knew he will come back, but she have given the orders to them as their queen that if anything goes wrong they should take care of Elsa. Their thought turns towards Elsa. She was beautiful woman with silver hair and blue eyes, a prodigy in controlling ice, but when it comes to darkness Hellblaze in full counter she was total rookie because there was no one who could teach her about it, so she lacked about that ability. But there was something different about her, no one knew the reason, but she always have more resistance towards holy powers than any devils they have ever seen. Speaking of Elsa, she was talking with her peerage. She was wearing plain white top and black skirt. She was also wearing Uzumaki swirl pendant in her neck like her mother. Her peerage was also very different than many others. She was totally frank with her peerage. They were like family to her. Her set wasn't complete yet. There was only one bishop left. Her queen was Madoka Kurokami, purple hair beauty. Her knights were sons of Sparta. Virgil and Dante, they were half-breed born from human mother who was also living with them. Her rooks were couple Kensai and Mashiro. They were reincarnated devils and Kensai was with sacred gear. Then there was his one bishop Naneo. She was healer and also magic caster with high magic power. Then there was her pawn dragon duo Tatsumi and Wave. They were both best buddies with sacred gears. Her peerage were discussing about the marriage between Rias and Riser. Don't you guys think that it's really too much even for Rias? Asks Tatsumi to the group. I know that this is little too much for her. Sometimes she may be bossy and all, but we can't do anything. This is contract between two families, so no one other than her family members can stop this, spoke Elsa. Then her queen and best friend Madoka spoke. If I remember, Riser was also interested in you. How did you get rid of him? Now everyone in her peerage were interested how she got rid of Riser from her back. They were also curious why her family was treated with more respect than four Satans. Elsa sighed at that, remembering that day, but spoke, well, it's indeed true that his family proposed in contract with my family, but mother declined the contract, saying it's my decision who should I marry. She stops as she looks towards Tatsumi. For fraction of sec no one other than Madoka caught it, giving her smirk, but spoke nothing as Elsa continued. But he was persistent. He sometimes tried to grope me in public but was unsuccessful, and when I told this to Uncle Sparta, let's just say it wasn't good day for him. Well yeah, what do you expect from world's strongest knight? Spec Dante with some cockiness. Then Isane spoke, well that might be true, but I think Elsa's mother is wise king to have such loyal and trustworthy subordinates. Then Virgil spoke, Neneo, it's true Lady Grayfia is good leader but she is not king. That shocked everyone except Dante and Medaka. Then Wave asks, what do you mean Lady Grayfia is not king? Then Elsa spoke, the truth is she is queen to my father. Now that shocked them more. Mashiro was the first one to spoke, Elsa, where is your father? I haven't seen him around anywhere. Everyone nodded their head in agreement, but the one who replied was Dante. Well, I don't know the truth, but my father said that he died 100 years ago. Everyone becomes sad because of the news, but Dante continued, but he also says that it's not easy to kill him, he was strongest devil. Now everyone was confused what he was saying. Virgil saw this conflict, so he spoke, what my idiot brother is trying to say that my father and the entire peerage believes he is alive, but because of certain circumstances he can't come here. Then Kensai asked, and what might be circumstances not to contact with his family? Virgil looks at Kensai and spoke, personally I don't know, but my father said that he was priced through heart with a sword drenched in holy water. Many peerage gasp at that. How can devil survive holy water which destroyed his internal organs? But Virgil continued, but there is also one thing. And what is that? Asks Tatsumi. Father said that he was much more resistant towards holy powers than any devil, and it include Elsa, finished Virgil. Everyone in the room was dead silent. Elsa was in deep thought. Father, are you really alive? Then please come back to us. Mother always talks about you and how you never break promises, but then why are you not coming? Dante saw this conflict, so he spoke, well guys, as you know tomorrow is big day, but I think tomorrow is going to one heck of bang. Who agrees with me? Everybody ignores him. Hey, at least reply, you jerks, Dante yelled in anger, but then he felt something hard hit his head when he saw who it was. He pales in fear, the woman who is one scarcest person in the underworld. If you make her angry, his mother. Watch your mouth, young man, or do you want to get some beating? Asks his mother, to whom Dante rapidly shook his head. Everyone started laughing. Grayfia was watching this from other side of room with her fellow peerage. She smiles at scene. She was happy to have friends like that, but still there was missing part in this perfect picture, and she was still believing he will come to her just like he promised. She turned her head towards other occupants in the room and spoke, Sparta. As she speak, he bowed to her. Yes, my lady. She sighed at him. She and Naruto have told him many times not to speak like that when they are not in public, but she speak, if you have any training regimen for the kids then cancel that for the week. Sparta was bit surprised about that and spoke, if I may ask why, my lady? Grayfia looks towards kids, smiles and replied, even strongest warriors in the world also needs his rest and they need some time for themselves. Sparta just nodded his head. Next day, wedding hall. There were many guests in the party. Everyone was attending the wedding ceremony of Riser and Rias. Lord and Lady Gremory were greeting with guest. Lord and Lady Fenix were also attending their guests. The four Satans were also chatting with each other. Sirzex was occasionally looking at Grayfia, who was ignoring him. Just wait few minutes, Grayfia, I will have you, and this time no one is gonna save you from me now. Ajuka saw his friend's face. He was disappointed in him. How can he go so low for one woman who didn't want be in his presence at all? Grayfia and her group was also greeting with people. Some of them were discussing about marriage contract with Elsa and Cyroorg Bael, which Grayfia politely declined and said, I am sorry, Lord Bael, but I think my daughter should choose the wise man for herself and I have my full support to her. Lord Bael was not satisfied but didn't speak about that subject. As everyone was talking about wedding or having their discussion, they felt sudden rise in power. Many young devils were alert because of rise in power, but those who recognized the power were shocked. More specifically Sirzex, he was sweating like hell. He was scared, but then he thought it's not as powerful as it used to be, so it might be someone else, but still he was scared, and he knew if this is the man he thought he was good as dead. Grayfia was so shocked that she didn't know what to do. She was smiling and shedding small tears of joy. You came back as you promised. The peerage group was so shocked and happy for the first time in 100 years. Sirzex called his peerage who don't know about Naruto that much and ordered them to guard the place. Beowulf and Enku, as you should have sensed the demonic power and it's approaching here. Both of them nodded their head. You are to guard this place at any cost and do not let the intruder come here. Kill him on the spot, and also you can use promotion any time you want. Both of his pawns nodded their heads and leave outside. Somewhere near northern part of the underworld, everything was peaceful on northern part of the underworld, but suddenly a portal opened in the sky and a lone man came out of the portal. The man who came out of portal with messy blonde hair and cold blue eyes, wearing black pants, night shoes and cut gloves. His upper body was bare. As he walked out of portal, he cracked his neck and stretched his muscle, and he suddenly power up to his utmost limit. I have gotten weaker than I thought. Then he looked towards southeast part. It's been long time and I have apologies to her of getting late. As he said that, darkness started to cover his body and black wings of darkness appeared behind him, and he leaped in the sky with speed beyond Mach 20 feet. He was flying so fast no one was able to track him. In few seconds he reached ceremony hall. As he saw hundreds of guards was waiting for him with someone's peerage, he looked at them with toothy grin. When they saw him, all guards attack him. The man leaped at them and started to attack them with his brute strength, punching, kicking them. Then he grabbed a sword from dead soldier and started to cut them into pieces. He was tearing the guards like paper. As other guards saw this, they attack him with magic, but he dodged them swiftly and attacked with his black fire. Remaining guards panicked in thought, "Who is this monster?" and started to run and scream in fear. When Enku and Beowulf saw this, they were so shocked. They thought that how could they handle him, but now even they started to doubt their power. But regardless, they attack him. Both of them yelled simultaneously, "Promotion Queen!" and attack him with newfound speed. With sudden power up and speed, the man was caught off guard as they hit him in face and back simultaneously, sending him in the ground. Both Beowulf and Enku was now thought they might be able to win if they attack him with teamwork. As dust cloud cleared, they saw the man was standing unharmed, looking at them in pure disappointment, and spoke, "What a waste of time. Are you amateurs or what? I thought you might be a good for my warm-up, but you really are weak." The moment that man called them weak, Beowulf jumped to attack him, but before Enku could warn them, the man vanished from their sight and reappeared in front of Enku and crushed Beowulf's head in the ground. Enku was terrified of the monster in front of him. How can he defeat this monster alone, who were able to crush the hundreds of guards and take down Beowulf in single attack? Then the man then looked towards Enku, was so terrified to move. He then started to walk towards him. With each step, Enku was feeling like death was coming to consume him, but as the man reached Enku, he passed him like he was not even there. As he passed Enku, he sighed with relief, but then he remembered the order. He was almost near the door. Enku called him, "Stop right there. I do not know who are you and why you are here, but my king ordered me to stop you at any cost, so in the name of Lord Sirzek's name, I, Enku, his pawn, will stop you." When the man heard that name, he stopped and turned and faced Enku with his hair shadowed his eyes and spoke, "Do you know what you have said will cause to you?" But Enku attacked him without answering. Before he could reach an attack, that man vanished from the spot and he felt his head crash to the wall. Without any further delay, that man assaulted Enku with relentless attacks. He wasn't even giving Enku chance to scream. Finally, that man grabbed Enku by his collar and threw him in the air, then punched him in the gut so hard that he was sent flying, crushing the door, and then finally crashed into the wall right in between Rias and Riser. Everyone in the room was so shocked that someone was able to defeat Sirzek's peerage, but they were also afraid of the person who was able to defeat them. Few minutes earlier, everyone in the hall sensed the demonic power. The lower class devils were scared to the death, especially the recently reincarnated devils. Many devils from old generation was in the front lines. Elsa was also ready. If things get out of hand, she will also help them. But when she looked towards her mother and peerage, she was surprised that they were not tense like everyone, rather they were happy, and this was unusual for her. But she focused on the door. Sirzek saw the panic and he get up from his chair and spoke, "Lords and ladies, please calm down. I have sent my trusted servants Beowulf and Enku to capture the enemy, so do not worry about them. They can handle him, and if something happens, I am here to handle it. So shall we proceed the marriage?" All high-class devils nodded their head. Rias looked at her brother with hurt expression, but Sirzek ignored her right now. All he wanted was grayfia and he will have her. Grayfia was furious. She wanted to attack Sirzek, but she was stopped by other peerage. Elsa saw this now. She was surprised and confused. She knew that her mother never liked Sirzek, but why she didn't know. She tried to find the reason but never find a true reason. But she knew Sirzek had crush on her mother for a long time, but that's not the reason. It might be more personal that she thought. Then she turned her head towards Rias. But right now this is more important than finding the reason between mother and Lord Lucifer's hate. As everyone was ready for the wedding, suddenly the Door was blown into pieces and someone crashed to the wall behind Rias and Riser. Everyone was shocked. How can this possible? But when they saw someone was coming inside, everyone except grayfia and her peerage members got into stance. But the moment that person entered the room, all older generation was shocked and scared. Shocked because how can he be alive when he was pierced through heart, and scared if he can survive holy water, then he was truly a monster. Darkness started to pour into the room, and the cause of the darkness was the monster who is also known as Naruto Uzumaki, the strongest devil in Underworld. As Naruto walked inside the hall, darkness covered his entire body and his eyes held nothing but black holes. The bloodlust emanating from his being caused all lower-class devils to faint, and all the high and mid-class devils to suffocate. Pure, unadulterated rage had engulfed every pore in his body. But then he also saw the shocked faces of everyone in the room. All the remaining devils did not even dare to move from their spot, but then he heard someone yelling at him. He ignored the yell because that noise did not come from his target. Searsex, Naruto thought, and kept his pace. Riser looked on in indignant rage. He planned to marry Rias, take her to bed, and make her call to him like a nun calling to her god. He had planned everything for his special night, that some nameless bastard had to interrupt, and that bastard had to pay with his life. So, like a spoiled brat, he yelled, "Hey, bastard! Who do you think you are, interrupting my wedding?" When Naruto kept walking as if he hadn't heard him, Riser turned to the guards. "What are you doing, you useless wastes? Capture him, kill him, I don't care, just get him out of my sight." All the guards stopped shaking and nodded their heads, but the older generation looked at Riser in shock. It became clear that he had no idea who he wanted his guards to capture. Either that, or he had gone so far in over his head that he lost his common sense along the way. Before anyone could prevent the attack, all the remaining guards attacked Naruto, but still Naruto kept walking without even looking at anyone. When they stood a few feet away from him, something flashed, and in the next instant, all of the attacking guards fell into pieces and all of their limbs flew in a rain of blood. To sum it up, Naruto literally killed all those guards in an instant. Riser started to shake in fear. He racked his brain for a possible course of action against this abnormality, but nobody other than ultimate-class devils could track his movements. Even for high-class devils, all the movements Naruto made came out as a blur. Riser looked at his peerage and opened his mouth to yell at them to attack him. But then, grayfia leapt towards him. All of the devils present looked at her in complete and utter shock, but none more so than the younger generation, especially Elsa and her peerage. When Elsa saw her mother lunge at the man who killed guards in a flash, she screamed in fear. "Ka-chan, don't!" Elsa and her peerage all moved to catch grayfia, but they were stopped by Mard Gear's thorns. "Let me go!" Elsa cried. "I need to stop her before it's too late." Elsa moved as much as she could, but Mard Gear didn't let go of her and turned to her with a kind gaze. "Do not fear, Lady Elsa. Nothing bad shall happen to my lady." Elsa watched her mother move closer to that murderer and, with the fact that she couldn't do anything to prevent her mother's death, fell to her knees in despair. Despair, which turned into confusion when she saw what her mother did next. When grayfia leapt towards Naruto, tears of happiness ran down from her eyes. "You're finally here. You kept your promise. You're home again, you've come back to me again." Naruto still continued towards Searsex, who looked back at him with an unhealthy amount of fear, but then Naruto noticed someone else coming at him. Initially, he inwardly groaned in annoyance before sensing the energy signature of the person inbound to him. He turned towards her with his eyes widened a bit, then he let go of his sword as grayfia was a few inches away from him. He pulled her into a hug and the two shared a passionate, fervent kiss. Every single conscious devil from the younger generation blushed at grayfia's boldness. She always had a calm, cool, and collected demeanor and always did rational things. No one would ever suspect her of kissing the strongest devil in front of everyone without even thinking of her surroundings, especially since he interrupted a wedding. Elsa's eyes became as big as dinner plates. She thought her mother was going to attack that man only to get killed. She didn't expect her to run to him to hug her, or for both of them to start making out in front of the entire devil congregation. The jaws of her peerage fell into a straight line on the floor. They had never seen grayfia this passionate before. Ever. The one woman they respected above all others ran up to Naruto Uzumaki. the strongest devil, who interrupted the wedding and killed the guards, and proceeded to snog him. They didn't know what to say, what to believe, or what to do. As for the male devils, except for Naruto's peerage, they stared at him in anger and envy. Even though many devils knew who he was, they still envy him. Why does he get kissed by a lady like Grayfia? With the Satans and Lords. The three Satans watched in shock and happiness, but a certain star girl looked at Grayfia with a small amount of jealousy. Lord Gremory smiled in relief, but still held worry for his son. Like her husband, Lady Gremory held both worry for her son and relief that Naruto hadn't jumped at the chance to kill him. All lords and ladies of the other families had mixed expressions: happiness that the strongest devil had returned to them, but tension about their futures as well. But the most shocked people were younger generation, so they looked towards Elsa and Peerage for answers, but they were also equally shocked. But Sona noticed that older devils were having different reactions. She doesn't know why, but she thought older generation knew about him. With a small strand of saliva as proof of their long passionate kiss, both Grayfia and Naruto separated themselves, and Naruto's darkness started to fade, revealing his handsome face and well-toned body. It took immense willpower for most of the females to rein in their nosebleeds. Some didn't have that kind of willpower and collapse with perverted smiles on their faces. Grayfia hugged him again tightly, as if he would vanish into thin air at any moment. "You're back. You're back. I missed you, Naruto-koi. I missed you so much. So please, please don't ever leave me alone again." Naruto held her closely as if he wanted to meld her to him. The sight of his precious woman made him forget the anger he held a few moments ago. He ran his fingers through her hair and sighed in contentment. "I missed you too, Grayfia-heim. I know I am so late, but I'm back, and I promise, even if it means the death of me, I will never leave you, or our daughter ever again." What? How can this be possible? He was dead. Ooh, he's so cool. That last one came from a female fan of his. Everyone of the younger generation turned to Elsa in shock. They didn't know what to do in response to the fact that Naruto Uzumaki, the strongest devil, who was married to apparently Grayfia Lucifuge Uzumaki, the most beautiful woman in Underworld, was also the father of Elsa Lucifuge Uzumaki, the strongest rookie devil in Underworld. But more importantly, they were shocked that the man they admired and grew up listening to his legendary stories stood in front of them. The man loved by his allies, and feared by his enemies. The strongest devil, even stronger than the current Lucifer. Naruto Uzumaki, the Dark King. Riser heard many stories about him, and all stories ended quite painfully for his enemies. Rumors also rose that if you did anything to piss off Naruto Uzumaki, well, you didn't know it right away, but he already killed you. Sona suddenly understood why every adult currently had eyes on him and mixed expressions on their faces. How could she forget about him? Her big sister, Seraphal, never grew tired when she told her stories about him. Siraorg shook in excitement, and no one could blame him. Naruto Uzumaki, his biggest idol and the man he really respects and wanted to meet and surpass, stood right in front of him. Rias stared at him as if she had seen a ghost. She knew about him because of the endless stories her mother and father told her. Her father always told her about how his strength easily trumps his as well as her old brother's. Now that he stood in front of her, she could feel the power coming off him in waves. She wouldn't lie, something in her caused her to bubble in excitement. Elsa's peerage looked at Naruto as if they had seen a ghost, but Dante and Virgil looked at their father to confirm the situation. When Sparta nodded his head, his sons told their peerages to calm down. "Guys, look here. I know all of this is kind of sudden, you know. Everything about this situation is sudden, but only cool heads will prevail in this situation, so let's all just calm down." When Elsa heard the man's name, she was shocked, happy, and angry at the same time. Shocked that her father lived when everyone accepted the thought that of him dying, happy that she could meet him now for the first time. However, she also felt anger because of his absence when she and her mother needed him the most. "Grayfia-heim, where is our daughter Elsa?" Naruto asked with a beaming smile. Grayfia pointed out towards Elsa, who was staring at them with a mixed expression. "She's over there." Naruto slowly started to walk towards Elsa, who was still staring at him unclearly. Naruto approached Elsa and placed a gentle hand on Elsa's shoulder. "Elsa." He greeted warmly. The girl in question felt someone's hand on her shoulder and heard her name, causing her to come out of her daze. She looked up and saw Naruto looking down at her with a beautiful smile. Tears came to her eyes. "To-san," she sniffled. She bowed her head and tried her best to stifle her sobs, gritting her teeth and clenching her fists to do so. Doing the appropriate thing in this situation, Naruto slowly brought his arms around her. Well, he tried, but fell short when his daughter slugged him in the stomach as hard as she possibly could. Naruto grabbed his stomach because of the sudden pain. Grayfia ran towards them, ready to scold Elsa, but Naruto stopped her. "It's all right, Haim. I know for a fact that I deserved that one." He again stood in front of Elsa, who stared at him with tears of anger in her eyes. "Why did you leave your wife and daughter alone if you were alive all this time? Why didn't you come back to us? Where were you when I needed my To-san? Where were you when mom had to go to bed all alone? Do you have any idea how it feels to see everyone with their fathers and for you to be the only one without one? Did you ever stay up at night and ask what it would be like to have your dad at home? Why did you leave us in the first place? Why are you even back now?" Elsa punctuated every question with a hit. She intended to hurt, but when she realized that he could feel no pain from her hits, she weakly pounded away at his chest like a child. As the people in the hall listened to Elsa as she attacked her father, they grew curious. She asked a good question. Why come back now of all times? A certain sadist looked at Naruto with eyes of anger as his absence from Elsa's life reminded her of her father. Naruto paid no attention to his surroundings as he grabbed Elsa and hugged her gently. Elsa felt something warm burst inside of her and her tears doubled over as she relaxed in her father's hold. "Why weren't you with us, To-san? Did you not love us?" she asked in a broken whisper. "Elsa, you need to know right here and now that I love both you and your mother more than life itself, even though I wasn't here to prove it. I know there is no denying I wasn't there to see how much you suffered because of me. I'm so sorry, darling, for not being there for you. I'm sorry I wasn't there to give you piggyback rides home. I'm sorry I wasn't there to play with you, or comfort you when you had nightmares. I'm sorry I made you feel so alone," Naruto lamented, before shocking the peanut gallery with his next action. He fell to a knee and held his daughter's hand, pressing it against his forehead. "But I promise, even if you hate me, I will never ever leave you and Grayfia alone again. Elsa, dear daughter whom I'm proud to call mine. Give your old man one last chance. Please Elsa, let me prove my worth to be called your father." When Naruto finished, the current visage he gave off nearly floored everyone. In fact, if he hadn't killed those guards, Riser would have tried to kill him out of sheer arrogance. Naruto Uzumaki, the strongest devil, knelt before Elsa Uzumaki, his daughter, and begged for his forgiveness. If anyone looked closer, they'd see a tear in his eyes threatening to fall. Elsa went to her knees and wrapped her arms around her father's neck, making Naruto's eyes widen. "Do you really promise you will never leave us again?" Naruto wrapped her arms around her again, breathing in her scent for the first time. Grayfia walked towards them with teary eyes, then Naruto opened an arm to include her in the embrace. "I promise I will never, ever leave you either of you alone again. I promise, no, I swear that on my life, I'm here to stay, believe it." As Naruto embraced his family, Searsex seethed in anger that rose by the second. Ajuka noticed this, put hand on Searsex's shoulder and gave him a look that discouraged him from doing anything reckless. "Searsex, behave yourself. You are the Lucifer, and if you do anything funny, I will personally beat you down. Keep that in mind before you do something to get yourself killed." Searsex grew angrier, but he knew what would happen if he made a scene, so he calmed himself. Naruto separated himself from the hug and looked around for his peerage. He found them, but he also noticed many people there as well. Then he realized that he had just interrupted a wedding. He looked to the bride and groom, and the sight of a female version of Searsex surprised him. "Well, I think I disrupted the wedding long enough. Sorry for all the trouble. I'll just take my darling wife and my dear daughter and be on my way." As he said that, he saw the sad look in the bride's eyes and in the eyes of a few of the younger generation as well, but he ignored it. It wasn't his business, so he prepared the teleportation circle, but before they could leave, Elsa stopped him. "To-san, please wait. Could you do me a favor?" Naruto stopped the teleportation immediately. "Elsa, you don't need to ask me for favors. Tell Daddy what you want and he'll get it done, I promise," he replied, smiling. Elsa blushed at her father treating her like a little girl, but she looked at Rias, who looked depressed. If you can, Tu-san, please stop this wedding. Everyone in the hall sat in shock, but none more so than Rias. She's asking her father to stop this wedding. Why? Why would she do that for me? Elsa and Rias never really got along that much because Rias had a somewhat selfish nature to her, but she had a heart of gold and cared for her friends in peerage. Marrying Riser would be a complete nightmare, and Elsa, knowing that, decided to ask her father to annul the marriage. What? How can you even ask that? The marriage between me and Rias was fixed by our parents when we were younger, so no matter what, this marriage will proceed. Riser then seized Rias' hand. Naruto saw all this, and he also saw Riser trying to force himself onto Rias, who struggled not to let him get the better of her. Why do you think this wedding should be stopped? Naruto asked Elsa. Elsa then again looks towards Rias, who kept trying to separate herself from Riser. Rias. She has a flat-out attitude problem. She always thinks she is superior to everyone even though she's not. She is rude, bossy, and more than often misunderstands a situation and lashes at anyone and everyone. But she also has a kind heart. She cares for her subordinates, and she didn't want to let anyone know about this because it will damage her pride as a devil. She can't shake the loneliness she feels, even though she is surrounded by so many people who want to help, yet she didn't want help from anyone because she wants to prove her own worth to everyone. She wants to prove that she isn't just Rias from the Gremory family. She wants to prove that she's Rias Gremory, period. Words failed Rias. She didn't know what to think. How could Elsa read her this well? They didn't even interact that much. But her desire to prove herself, that stick-to-it attitude of hers that is so irritatingly endearing. It will all crumble if she marries someone like him. Elsa finished, aiming a scathing glare at Riser. The devil in question growled at that comment, but one glare from Naruto stopped him from doing anything funny. He is a womanizer. He's never cared for a woman's feelings. He treats the people of our gender like they are just mere objects that he can get whenever he wants. Besides, Rias doesn't want to marry Riser. She doesn't even like that prick. Riser, offended by the comment, had a lapse in common sense. You dare call me a prick, you bitch. The moment Riser said those words, he found himself crushed against the wall with his throat in Naruto's grip. You dare badmouth my daughter, scum. He said venomously before punching Riser in the gut, making him cough blood. Riser's peerage attacked Naruto, seeing their king needed help. Naruto vanished from that spot and appeared behind Riser's peerage. In the next moment, they all fell on the ground unconscious. I appreciate you attacking me head on, knowing well about our power difference. Foolhardy as it was, it's good to see that bastards like Riser have people who genuinely care for him. He turned back to Riser, who had bullets of sweat running down his spine. What did you do to them? I just knocked them out, but you are going to experience pain for badmouthing my daughter and for trying to force yourself on women who don't want you, and I despise those kind of people. Isn't that right, Searsex? Searsex flinched at that, but no one noticed. I absolutely despise people like you, Riser, so prepare yourself. I'll show you true pain. However, before Naruto could do anything, Lady Phoenix appeared in front of Naruto. Naruto-san, please stop, don't attack him. Naruto just looked in her eyes. He saw the pleading look, so he gestured her to continue. I know this marriage is forced, but you must understand, it is for the future of the Under. Don't give me that excuse, Lady Phoenix. Even I know what is better for the underworld. Or did you forget why all of you opposed the old Satan faction? All of the older generation who fought in the rebellion looked down in shame, but Lady Phoenix continued. Yes, we opposed the old Satan faction because of their outdated ways, but what? What are you doing is no different from old Satan factions. They had no excuse for something like this, and neither do you. Naruto almost yelled at Lady Phoenix. Lady Phoenix flinched at that tone but remained standing. Searsex saw this as opportunity to humiliate Naruto. Naruto, stand down. You have no place to speak in matters that only concern members of the clan. Naruto shot a glare towards Searsex which made him speaking. Am I talking to you? No. Then why are you speaking to me? If you don't like what I say, then, please, do something about it. Naruto challenged. Naruto, we know you are right about this, But this is clan matter and we can't intervene in that matter. This rule was made after your supposed death. Ajuka tried. Do you mean to say you will do nothing whenever you see something wrong going on? Naruto asked threateningly. Ajuka, taken aback by his tone, continued anyway. Naruto, as Lady Phoenix told you, this is for pureblood devils. Naruto found it more and more difficult to control his rejuvenated anger. Ajuka, let me tell you right now that when the new devil faction won the war, I was given the highest authority in the underworld. As such, I am using my authority to order you to put a stop to this wedding. The entire hall became silent. Everyone in the room stood in shock at this big revelation. You can't do this, this is between two families, Riser roared. Naruto ignored him and turned back to Lady Phoenix. Lady Phoenix, it's up to you. I am giving you this one chance to save the future of your child. Everyone sat in the room silently. Everyone had mixed opinions about the situation, though Rias' peerage was happy for the chance that Rias will not have to marry that narcissist. Even Rias stood in shock. How much power did he have that he could threaten the Phoenix family so casually? Even her brother never dared to speak like that because of the consequences that might fall upon him in the family. Elsa and her peerage stood in fearful awe. They had just realized that Naruto Uzumaki could be quite scary when angry, but the females of the group felt relief that their king's father was a man who respects women, so they felt safe from many perverts from the underworld. Cyraorg looked at Naruto with even more respect than before. Sona and her peerage couldn't believe that Naruto directly threatened Lady Phoenix, but also putting the fate of the Phoenix progeny at risk as well. Lady Phoenix didn't know what to do. On one hand, she did want this wedding to continue, but on the other hand, she also wanted her son safe. Racking her brain for answers, she didn't notice a hand on her shoulder before she looked up and saw her husband, who gestured her to calm down. Lord Phoenix looked towards Naruto. Naruto, I know why are you doing this. I have made a decision. This marriage contract is void. All devils of the congregation looked on in shock, some with shock and outrage, some with relief, and Naruto with satisfaction. Rias and her peerage had beaming smiles on their faces, save for Issei, who made a joyful noise. I am breaking this marriage contract permanently. Naruto looked at Lord and Lady Phoenix. Sorry for the trouble, but you also know why I did this. Lord and Lady Phoenix nodded their head. We know, Naruto, and we are certainly happy that because of us, Rias's life has not been ruined. Naruto nodded his head and walked towards his family, who met him with wide smiles. Naruto-sama. As he reached his family, he heard someone call his name, so he turned to see who called for him. To his surprise, he saw Lord and Lady Gremory walking with Rias and her peerage. When they reached him, Rias bowed her head. Thank you for your help. Naruto stared blankly at the female version of Circex, but he just nodded at her. You haven't changed, Naruto, you are still bossy sometimes. Lord Gremory chuckled. Naruto smirked. What can I say? It's good to be the king. As the adult spoke, Rias slowly walked towards Elsa. Elsa looked at Rias and Rias bowed her head. Thank you so much, Elsa. I apologize for being a... Well, you know. If you had not asked your father for help, this would have been the most miserable day of my life. Elsa nodded and smiled. What can I say? That's what friends are for. Rias' eyes widened in shock, but she also felt happy that Elsa was calling her friend, and it made her happy that she was able to make one more friend. She also nodded her head. As Naruto and Lord Gremory talked, a few other devils joined them, like Naruto's peerage, Lord and Lady Beale, Lord and Lady Citri, Lord and Lady Phoenix, Ajuka Beelzebub, Falbium Asmodeus, and Seraphal Leviathan. Seraphal literally leapt at Naruto, but he caught her before she could give him a bone-crushing hug, and thus their chatter starts. As the adults talked, Grayfia suddenly asked the question on everyone's mind. Naruto-koi, why did it take you a long time to return to us? Naruto got a serious look on his face and looked outside of the hall. Everyone stopped talking as they wanted to hear the whereabouts of their hero for 100 years. Naruto then turned towards everyone in the hall. I was trapped in the dimensional void. I was badly injured when I was falling in a volcano, but then a rift opened above the volcano and I was sucked inside of it and fell unconscious. When I woke up, I was in front of that old overgrown lizard. Naruto said the word, lizard, with great annoyance. Naruto Koi, by any chance you are talking about Great Red? Naruto nodded his head. The devils looked at him oddly, but some of the older ones started to chuckle. That's Naruto, alright. Most of the older that knew Naruto well, knew that he rarely gave anyone respect, whether they were humans, dragons, yokai, vampires, demons, or even devils. By the annoyance in his voice, however, something must have happened between him and Great Red. When I woke up, I felt weak, and I mean weak. All of my power was drained out of me and sealed by that lizard. I wanted to give that reptile an ass-kicking of biblical proportions, but because of lack of power, kicking his ass was out of the question. He did let me stay in the void until I regained my power, but I can't rest until I've kicked his ass for messing with me. The Great Red sealed 2 Sans, Naruto-sama's, Sans, Kun's, Koi's, Ni-chan's power? Why? Naruto, as sudden as it is, would you tell us, if you can, who cheap-shotted you? Sirzex noticed what Ajuka's plan, but Naruto spoke again before he could do anything. Lucifer did it. Lucifer could have meant anything, but Naruto's eyes fell on Sirzex. All the devils stood in shock, but then they understood the meaning of his sentence. That is to say, they thought by Lucifer, he meant the Lucifer from the old Satan faction. However, grayfia, Naruto's peerage, Sirzex and surprisingly Ajuka understood who Naruto really had in mind as to the knowledge of his attacker. Naruto then turned towards everyone and bowed. I thank you all, except for the obvious, for taking care of my family. However, it's time I took back the role of the family man and be the best husband and father to both my girls. Grayfia and Elsa blushed. With one last wave, the family of 3 left the hall in a blinding flash of light. Uzumaki household. As the family of 3 arrived at home, Naruto looked around. Not much had changed over the course of a century, but the things that changed definitely surprised him pleasantly. He turned to Grayfia and gave her sweet, chaste kiss on her lips. Doesn't matter how many times it's said, it's always good to be home. Grayfia smiled at him. I'm happy to have you home, Naruto, my love. I'm happy to be home, Grayfia, my dear. Naruto soon sat on the couch and began talking with Elsa. So, what has my lovely daughter been up to? You've got quite the sizable peerage, young lady. Elsa giggled and scratched the back of her head in embarrassment. Well, they are really strong for their age, and not only are they strong, they are also really good friends. Naruto ruffled his daughter's hair proudly. That's my girl. You should always surround yourself with people you can trust with your life. Speaking of which, Naruto's face grew serious as he leaned in towards Elsa. Do you have any boyfriend? That question stunned Elsa. And no, I don't have a boyfriend. Naruto chuckled lightly in relief. Good. What a relief. Elsa looked at her dad quizzically. Why did you ask that? Naruto tilted his head in confusion. What do you mean, why? I am your father and you are too young to have any boyfriend. But Mother told me that both of you were dating when you were my age. That statement put Naruto in a very dangerous position. However, his pride wouldn't allow him to give up the fight that easily. It was different with me and your mother. We were at war and I wanted your mother to know how much I love her and look, Elsa. I'm the dad and I forbid you from dating anyone without my permission. Elsa pouted, protested and in the end, Naruto lost miserably. Grayfia stood in the kitchen, watching the interaction between father and daughter. The sight made her so happy. The man she loved returned to her daughter accepted him, and she finally had her big happy family again. Tears ran down her face, which Naruto saw. He practically teleported from the couch to her and wrapped his arms around her. Haim, why are you crying? Grayfia looked at him with teary eyes. I'm just so happy you're home, Naruto Koi. Now our family is complete again. After 100 years of not seeing or hearing you, it's hard to believe. Naruto smirked at that and leaned towards Grayfia's ear. Would you like me to make you believe it with more than just words? Grayfia's face became redder than a tomato with a heavy blush, but the Uzumaki matriarch controlled herself. Well, how else am I supposed to believe that you're really here? Naruto looked at Elsa. I'm sorry, darling, but your mother and I need to go talk privately. As Naruto spoke, Elsa saw her mother's face. She looked like an infatuated schoolgirl, which Elsa planned to mercilessly tease her about. Okay, but try to keep it down, I'd rather not hear how I was conceived. Grayfia tried to hide her blush, but failed. Naruto then lifted Grayfia into his arms like a princess. To our room, then. Elsa, until we get back, you're in charge. Before they could walk towards their room, they saw a teleportation circle and they saw Naruto's peerage as well as Elsa's peerage. All members of both peerages bowed to him. Welcome back, Naruto-sama. Naruto chuckled and waved a free hand. Raise your heads, everyone. Formalities make me feel like an old man, believe it. All of them raised their heads. It's good to see everyone again, but I've been indemnified and I need to respond, he said, signaling towards Grayfia, who still had a beet-red face. Naruto's peerage understood what he meant, so they let him pass. As Naruto walked inside their room with Grayfia, Sparta called the butlers and maids. Everyone, our master has returned home. This announcement sent shock and happiness towards all the butlers and maids in the Uzumaki household. Sparta smiled at the joy of his fellow employees. You will leave the food outside of the door 2 times a day and you will knock the door 3 times before leaving the food outside the door. All of them nodded their heads. Well then, off to work with us. Elsa and her peerage looked on in confusion, until Marred Gear clarified it. They haven't seen each other for an entire century. They have quite the itch to scratch. Elsa's peerage blushed, but said nothing and all of them went to do their work. Before everyone else could depart, another teleportation circle appeared and a maid come in front of them, bowing to everyone present. Lady Elsa, I am here by the order of Lady Rias. She is inviting you and your peerage to dinner with your family. Elsa looked at the maid. Raise your head. Tell Rias that I shall be there. As for father and mother, well, they are busy with something so they can't come to dinner. The maid nodded her head and left in the same teleportation circle she came from. Thank you.